What if I told you that there are 3 animals out there that don't just look at humans like an occasional nuisance or even something to avoid, but as actual dinner? Yup, that's right, we're on the menu. Today, we're diving into 3 apex predators that have no problem with the idea of making humans into a light snack. Beware, because we're going to talk about the polar bear, crocodiles, and big cats. Predators that definitely aren't here to make friends. Let's kick things off with the biggest land carnivore, the polar bear. You might think of polar bears as adorable Coca-Cola mascots, but let's be real. These massive creatures are apex predators that look at us the same way we might look at a tasty burger. These bears are huge, with the largest ever recorded tipping the scales at over a ton. They roam the Arctic, where there's not exactly a wealth of hiding places, so their hunting style is all about creativity. They sneak up on seals, hide behind blocks of ice, and even swim quietly underwater, kind of like a furry submarine with claws. You know what's scarier? Unlike most other big animals, polar bears see humans as food. It's not just a defensive thing, or a hey, get away from my cubs kind of attack. They'll come for you because they're hungry, and they think you'll make a good meal. This has a lot to do with their environment. When the sea ice melts, they start moving inland, sniffing out anything remotely edible. And yeah, that sometimes means people. In places like Churchill, Canada, they've even had to set up polar bear jails for bears that get too comfortable strolling into town looking for snacks. Let's face it, they're just doing what they've got to do to survive, but it's hard not to feel a chill when you know that, as far as they're concerned, you're fair game. And if you think that's just a theoretical threat, think again. Between 1870 and 2014, there were 73 reported polar bear attacks on humans, with 20 resulting in fatalities. The majority of these attacks were by hungry male bears, usually near human settlements. Climate change isn't exactly helping matters either. As the ice melts and their usual hunting grounds disappear, polar bears are getting desperate, and desperate predators aren't picky eaters. Polar bears have evolved to be hypercarnivores, meaning they rely almost exclusively on meat to survive. Their primary prey are seals, and they are incredibly adept at catching them. They'll wait by breathing holes in the ice for hours, sometimes even days, just for the opportunity to snag an unsuspecting seal. But when their usual prey becomes scarce, their hunting instincts don't just shut off. That's when they start exploring other options, like humans. In fact, polar bears have an extraordinary sense of smell. They can detect a seal from nearly a mile away, and they're not above using that skill to sniff out a human settlement when times are tough. If you think you're safe because you're inland, think again. These bears are known to travel long distances in search of food, and when they're hungry, anything is fair game. Next up, let's talk about crocodiles. These guys have been around since the time of the dinosaurs, and let's be honest, they haven't changed much because they haven't needed to. Crocs are the definition of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They're found all over the world, from Africa to Australia, and they're almost always the top predator wherever they live. And yes, they have absolutely no issue with snacking on humans. Now, not all crocs are created equal. Some species, like the American crocodile, are relatively chill and don't usually see us as food. But then, there are the Nile crocodile and the saltwater crocodile. These are the real nightmares. Nile crocs kill hundreds of people every year in Africa, and saltwater crocs are no less dangerous in Southeast Asia and Australia. These massive reptiles are ambush predators, which means if you're close enough for them to see you, it's probably already too late. Crocodiles have a hunting strategy that's as efficient as it is terrifying. They lie in wait, just beneath the surface of the water, barely visible. With their eyes and nostrils above water, they remain almost completely concealed, waiting for any animal, whether it's a wildebeest, a zebra, or an unfortunate human, to come close enough to the water's edge. Once they're within reach, crocs will use their powerful tails to propel themselves out of the water, latching onto their prey with a bite force that's among the strongest in the animal kingdom. And here's the kicker, crocodiles don't kill their prey immediately. Instead, they drag them underwater and perform the infamous death roll, twisting and thrashing to drown their victim and tear off chunks of flesh. It's brutal, efficient, and absolutely nightmarish. Take Gustav, for example, the infamous Nile croc rumored to have killed between 60 to 300 people along the Ruzizi River. This guy was Jason Voorhees of crocodiles, gaining a mythical status because he was so hard to catch and so terrifyingly effective at what he did. And while Gustav might be a particularly extreme case, the truth is that saltwater and Nile crocs view humans as just another meal option. They don't care if you're a thirsty gazelle or a person just trying to cross a river. To them, it's all the same. There are even legends. albeit probably exaggerated ones, like the Battle of Ramree Island, where it's said that saltwater crocodiles ate hundreds of Japanese soldiers during World War II. True or not, the fact that people even find that believable says a lot about how dangerous these reptiles are. And let's not forget, crocs are opportunists. In July 2018, after a crocodile in Indonesia killed a man, locals retaliated by killing nearly 300 crocodiles. Clearly, this human-croc relationship is one built on a healthy dose of fear and respect, but mostly fear. Now, we have big cats. These aren't your neighbor's tabby lounging on the windowsill. We're talking lions, tigers, and leopards, predators that have historically seen humans as prey, especially when their usual food sources are scarce. India has been a hotspot for man-eating big cats for centuries. Back in the late 1800s and early 1900s, leopards were responsible for nearly 12,000 human deaths in India. Tigers weren't far behind, and the famous Champawat tiger alone was said to have killed over 400 people before it was taken down by hunter Jim Corbett. What's really interesting is that a lot of these man-eaters weren't targeting humans because they preferred us. They were often injured or old, which made hunting their usual prey difficult. We were just the easier option. Leopards are smaller than tigers and lions, but don't let their size fool you. They are incredibly stealthy and adaptable, often living close to human settlements without people even realizing it. When food is scarce, they'll sneak into villages under the cover of darkness to snatch livestock, and sometimes, humans. What makes leopards particularly dangerous is their ability to blend in. They're elusive, nocturnal hunters that strike quickly, making them one of the most feared predators in areas where they're known to hunt people. Even lions have gotten in on the man-eating action. The Tsavo lions, those two maneless males that terrorized railway workers in Kenya in 1898, killed dozens of people before they were finally stopped. There are plenty of theories as to why they started targeting humans. Maybe their usual prey was scarce, or maybe they got a taste for human flesh from scavenging. Either way, it's safe to say that when big cats decide you're on the menu, things get dangerous fast. Tigers are probably the most notorious when it comes to hunting humans. In places like the Sundarbans, attacks are still fairly common, with tigers killing a handful of people each year. The Sundarbans is a harsh environment. Dense mangrove forests, difficult terrain, and limited prey make it a challenging place for both humans and tigers. Desperation drives these tigers to venture into villages, where humans become the next best thing to their usual prey. What's fascinating, though, is that tigers are also one of the few big cats that seem to remember individual people. They can hold grudges, and if they see humans as a threat, they'll target them specifically. Imagine that, a predator that not only hunts you, but might actually remember you. Terrifying. Tigers are solitary hunters, and their stealth is unmatched. They rely on ambush tactics, using their striped coats to blend in with the tall grasses of their habitat. They can remain completely hidden until they're just a few feet away from their target, and when they strike, it's with a combination of sheer power and precision. A tiger's paws are strong enough to crush a human skull, and their canines can puncture thick hide and bone. It's no wonder that in some parts of the world, people wear masks on the back of their heads to trick tigers into thinking they're being watched, in the hopes of deterring an attack. Could polar bears' relentless hunger, crocodiles' ruthless ambush tactics, or big cats' stealthy maneuvers prove which of these apex predators is the most formidable threat to humans? Share your thoughts, and don't forget to follow along for more thrilling explorations into the natural world's fiercest creatures.